must be this tall to ride.
What's up, everybody? Earth and Stone in the house.
What's happening? What's happening? We are in our very first ghost town. Can you believe it? I've heard of these places. I've never been to one. Give them a little look around. This used to be a thriving town of a whopping 100 people. It was founded in 1880. And there was a post office from 1881 to 1916. A whole post office. That's how you know you're in the seat of
royalty?
Yeah.
Greatness.
That's what I was trying to say. Civilization. But this is a very deserted road. And this is we're supposed to be in the town right now that used to be Amphion. And what sounded the death knell for this town was because the railroad decided to go to Jordanton instead of coming through here. And that seems to be the problem with a lot of these smaller towns. We went to Benton City, and that same thing happened to them. The railroad went off to another town. Benton City died out. You have the road to remind you that it was there. But around the turn of the century, what I read was that there was a Masonic lodge here. And that seems to be a big thing for these small towns too. When we go to all the cemeteries we've been to, we see a lot of Mason symbols. And if it's not Mason symbols, it's the woodsmen. So those are very big deals in these areas, the Masons and the woodsmen. And I'm sure we'll probably see one of the two at the cemetery we're going to visit in a little while. So at one point here in Amphion, the population was at 100, which is a very small number for a town. There was a school here, and the roster showed students numbering about 72. 72. Out of 100 people, 72 of them were students? That's some Children of the Corn shit. Malachi!
The blue man.
He wants you too. But here we are at Amphion Cemetery. It's one of the last standing memorials to the city that was once known as Amphion. And we're going to go inside right now and take a look at a little bit of the history. Looks like someone's about to be buried there. There's a board and a pile of dirt. So people are still getting buried out here. And obviously, you can call Dana or Leonard if you have any questions. There's the phone numbers. So here we are inside of Amphion Cemetery. The very first headstone we were greeted with was Roy, with a very weird Y. It looks like they tried to make a J or something. And I don't know if that's his. I think it says Jenkins. Yeah, Jenkins, Roy Jenkins. And that's all the information you get, his name. You don't need to know when he died or when he was born. It's none of your business. Look, 2023.
Oh, 2023.
2023. Fresh as a daisy. So this is still a very active cemetery. People are still using it. What would make somebody prefer to be buried out here? I have no idea. I don't know that they have family nearby. There are towns near here, Jordanton and places like that. But it's a very quiet, very out of the way place. And we saw our share of buzzards coming out here. But they weren't over the graveyard, so that's good.
And it's very peaceful, so I can see it.
Super quiet.
It is a Texas landmark, and I will show you guys in a minute.
So Amphion, when it was jumping with the heat and had a booming population of 100 people, they had some firsts. They had some things that made them civilized, I guess. So let's hear about Amphion and Amphion Cemetery. Amphion traces its beginning to the establishment of Atascosa County's first courthouse, which is believed to have been constructed near this site at the county seat of Navadasco? Am I saying that right? In 1857, Amphion, thought to have been named after a figure in Greek mythology, it sounds like Greek mythology. What do you think about it? Amphion?
Amphion.
Yeah. Didn't I say it was like a Colosseum name?
Yeah.
Was located within the 17,000-acre ranch of Jose Antonio Navarro, a prominent local rancher and signer of the Texas Declaration of Independence. Amphion was at one time a thriving community with several general stores, a hotel, post office, blacksmith, shop, cotton gin, tannery, churches, fraternal lodges, again, the Masonic lodge we were talking about, and a school. Amphion Cemetery was established about 1870 at this site on land donated by Roy Jenkins. That's the name we saw, Roy Jenkins.
Right.
That little tombstone. That's
yes.
him. That little simple tombstone is the guy who donated the land.
Awesome.
Roy Jenkins and Frank Lozano. Although the earliest recorded gravesite is that of Laura Underwood, 1891, there is a gravestone with the year 1800 inscribed on its surface that local tradition claims marks the grave of a young boy killed by Indians. I read about that. We're going to look for that. It's just inscribed with 1800. So be on the lookout for that. This cemetery contains the graves of at least 2 veterans of the American Civil War. When railroad lines were built through Atascosa County in 1907 and 1927, along routes that bypassed Amphion, business activity declined and the community eventually dissolved. Virtually all that remains of the former town of Amphion is this cemetery. So this is proof that Amphion existed. Let's go take a look at the proof. So, to reiterate, there was a Masonic lodge built in the area around the turn of the century, and as we've stated, we've seen a lot of Masonic headstones, and this is one of them. You can see, like right down here, the Masonic symbol of the Freemasons. In these trusty wrought iron gates. I wonder what these gates, what purpose they served other than to make the gravesite stand out. It's not like no one can get into it. If they wanted to dig it up, they could. So I don't think it's to keep anybody out of it. But I guess a sense of importance, maybe? Don't know. Have to look into that. This is it. They said simply engraved with 1800. This is supposedly the grave of a young boy who was killed by Native Americans. Is there any facts to it? They said supposedly, according to legend. But for it just to have a year and no name, I don't know. There's something weird about dying without a name. That's just me. But it's kind of like, you know. And I don't know what this is up here. I don't know if this was engraved with something, but it's hollow and it's embedded in the stone. So I don't know. Here's the 1800 grave. And this is what does this make, Maddie? Like the second one we've seen that person was killed by Indians?
Yes.
So the Indians were pretty strong around here. The Native Americans, I should say. I know sometimes people take offense to Indian, and I understand. But yeah, here it is. And it's new. It looks very new, doesn't it?
It does.
I thought it was going to be one of those ratty, like, Roy had a crappy stone, and he's the one who gave this land up. You'd think they'd make sure he had a really nice big stone. But no. Nameless boy has a better stone than he does.
Yup.
Well, there he is. Rest in peace, little one, if you are indeed a little boy.
All right, so this is the grave of Joe Rudy Alvarado. He was only 12 years old. And in the papers, it says his cause of death was suicide after being bullied by kids at school. As you can see, he was very loved. He's still very loved. Looks like they decorated for Christmas and bring him flowers. It's just such a sad ending to a young life.
I don't think anybody ever really understands how bad bullying can get. I mean, especially for a young kid who doesn't know how to cope. Who knows if he told his parents or anything and they just kind of said, don't pay them any mind, ignore them. You can't ignore them when it goes on forever, though. But who knows the story? We don't know anything about it. Just that he met a sad ending. Poor kid. Apparently he liked trucks and horses. Because I see horses all over here, and I see trucks on top of the stone.
Okay.
Here again we find another Mason headstone. This one is very clean. I mean, like, not just clean as in like appearance, but it's very well done. You've got the Mason symbol up here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's right here. The G with the measuring deal. Very nice, and the scroll. And if you come over here, this is probably like what it appeared like raw and undone. I don't think anybody chiseled that in there, but to get this kind of work into something like this is master craftsmanship. Very nice. There's the symbol right there. year. You see the year? When did he die? 1908?
Yep.
You can almost imagine this was just done with hammer and chisel. And as we said, in these cemeteries, in these small towns, we see a lot of Mason graves, and we see a lot of woodsman graves. These caught our eyes the first time we went to Benton City, I believe. We had a couple of them there, and it caught our attention. We're kind of wondering, why do these look like wood, like trunks of trees? This is the woodsman. The woodsman was a fraternal order, and I believe they were selling insurance to people for burials. They provided a stone, and all the stones look like this. Or they were like the mason one we just saw, but it was like stacked wood logs. Very big on the wood thing. And this, again, another mason stone. Right? So this one's from 1906. And look at the work. The detail. It's just amazing. Amazing. That's master craftsmanship there. It's very nice. Very nice. So that is it. This is the ghost town of Amphion. We went through it. It's very quick. Not too much going on there. Thought we'd see a little more ruins, but it is what it is. But we did see Amphion Cemetery, which they say is the only proof that this town existed. So I don't know exactly what I was looking for. There's nothing there. But here it is, Amphion Cemetery. Very nice. Still being used. There's an open grave. So people are still bringing their people out here. What do you think of it?
I loved it. I thought it was very peaceful, very clean. A lot of the same kinds of things we see, like you said, with the Masons and the woodsmen. I'm with you. You know, it's named after this dude donated this land, and he's got this teeny tiny stone.
Very modest, super modest. I don't know if that's by his design or if they kept the money. I don't know. But it was a rock with his name chiseled in it, and that's it. Even the kid, they don't even have a name for him, that supposedly was killed by Indians. All it has is a year, 1800. No name, no nothing. And that stone looked remarkably better than Roy's. But hey.
What are you going to do?
Exactly. What are you going to do? So that's it for now, guys. Hope you enjoyed that little adventure into what used to be Amphion.
History.
This is Derek.
Maddie.
Earth and Stone. Peace out.